Good morning, it's iCkEdMeL. Welcome. And we're going to be talking about Farrah Carter a little bit. And if you guys remember, this is the girl that was stabbed in 2002, May 22nd, I believe. And there's been some updates. Now, I am kind of disappointed because I've been waiting all day since yesterday till today for the press conference. They did a press conference, but it was never released. There's only small snippets that the news used, which just disappoints me because I wanted to see the family speak. I wanted to see what they had to say, not these 10-second clips, 15-second clips. I just don't understand it. Maybe they eventually will release it, but it seems like, because I called media relations yesterday and I asked them and they said they're only allowing the media there because of the global thing that's going on. And so I was like, okay. And they said there's not going to be a live stream. I said, okay. And so I'm thinking at least they're going to release or a longer version of this stuff, but no. So what I'm going to do is we're going to watch a small clip here from the Sun Sentinel. And there's various clips where you see the mother talk, the father talk, and they released the guy's name, Joseph Pollard, which this guy has actually been locked up since 2004 for like assault, burglary, and I forget, kidnapping. It's also reported that he has a history of domestic violence with women. Okay, so he's already been serving a life sentence. Let's start with this clip, and then we're going to read this article. I'm going to read it to you guys because this has more details about that day with Farrah Carter. And today we got a lot to get into. We're going to do some updates with Gabby Petito. And there's this other interesting story out of Moab, Utah, with these women that were together, married. They were at a campsite. It's a whole thing. We're going to talk about it. I don't know that it has any relation, but it is an interesting story regardless. So let's get in it.
I feel like my sister was cheated out of her life. My sister, people don't know personally when a child has dreams. And my sister was the type of person that wanted so much in life and was not able to even see that next day.
In 2002, there was a murder of Farrah Carter, May of 2002. Her mother, Kim Battle, and her...
This is the mother, I believe.
And Miss Battle's two younger daughters arrived home, the residence, and found a bloody living room floor. They exited, called the police. The police responded inside the residence and found Farrah inside her bedroom, murdered. She was stabbed to death. The case was worked for several months. We ended up with DNA evidence inside the residence that came back to a unidentified male subject. In 2019, we learned that there was new technology and advancements that the sheriff's office could reanalyze this piece of evidence. We came back to a guy by the name of Joseph L. Pollard, date of birth of February 6th of 1965. He currently is serving a life sentence in prison. Since July of that year, 2002, he was arrested. And
oh, I thought it was 2004. That was my mistake. In 2002, then? The same year that Farrah was killed.
He's been in custody ever since then. And he's been in custody ever in prison since July of that year, 2002. He was arrested, and he's been in custody ever since then. He's serving a life sentence for kidnapping, robbery, and assault. He denied all involvement. He denies knowing her. He denied ever entering that residence. We had other items analyzed in last year, in 2000, and we ended up with some more evidence because we compared it to him, and we ended up
in 2000 last year. Do you mean 2020?
with more evidence, DNA evidence that linked him to the crime scene.
My daughter was brutally murdered in the home that we had recently rented in Miramar. Although they had found the gentleman that did it, there's still a big hole in my heart that won't be filled. She was vibrant, ready to share, always willing to help. She was that big sister. She was that little sister. And without her being here to see what her life would have been like, to see the children maybe that she would have as a mother, to see the things that she would have made a difference in the communities, and her activeness, wanting to help, always willing to do, and wanting that person to be here with me right now is not here. For many nights after this, I would sit in the living room in a big chair, hoping that she would come through that door. And still now, for some strange reason, I'm back with the light on in my bedroom. No one knows what happened that day. But if you knew this person at any point in time, please come forward and let the detectives know of him. It's still a journey in life to try to absorb the loss of a child in such a tragedy way.
Okay, so that's it for that. I'm going to read you guys the article. And that's the thing. Police were asking more about this guy. Okay, they were saying they don't know, I guess, know much about him. So they're trying to find people that know him, knew about him, or if anybody has had an encounter with him. The family says they don't know him. Police say they don't believe Farrah knew the guy, or that there was they had previously known each other. I don't know. It's weird. So let me start here.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
It was a crime scene that shocked even the most hardened veteran detectives among them. Large pools of blood covered the tile floor and the wall of the family room, where the teen clearly struggled to fend off her attacker, and a man who police say wore a size 10 LA Gear sneaker. Aside from the shoe print made from the teen's own blood, police in Miramar 19 years ago found a chair knocked over, a glass jar shattered on the floor, and a couch that had been pushed across the room against the window and blinds. Farrah Carter's blood soaked a bedspread in her mother's room, but it was in the 15-year-old's bedroom where police found Farrah dead from multiple stab wounds. An ATP tour hat that no one in the family had seen before was processed for DNA, among other things. A man across the street told police he saw the teen speaking with a man through the door on the morning of her death. He said the man wore a hat and was trying to talk his way into the house. The neighbor said he saw the man give up and leave. Eventually, a man was successful at getting in, as there was no signs of forced entry in the house, police say. Tuesday, just days after what would have been Farrah's 35th birthday, police in Miramar stood with the dead teen's family and announced they found her killer, Joseph Pollard. The person police say was the killer, it turns out, wasn't on the run all along. In the summer of 2004, see, this says 2004. The guy in the video says 2002. So here's what I think happened. And this is something that Silvio sent me the other day. So the offense was committed in 2000, like the guy said in the video, July 18, 2000, robbery, gun, deadly weapon, burglary, assault, and kidnapping. But the sentencing was in 2004. That's why we have the two different dates. Okay, that makes sense. But in the summer of 2004, just 2 years after the 15-year-old was attacked and killed, Pollard was ordered to spend the rest of his life in prison for an unrelated case involving kidnapping, burglary, and robbery. Officials in Miramar say Pollard had a long history of violence against women before he was sentenced to life behind bars at the age of 39. Wow. Pollard is now 56. Miramar Police Detective Joe Tomlin said that the state will continue its case against Pollard regardless of his life sentence. Pollard's criminal record goes back decades, ranging from possession of cocaine to vehicle theft to lewd and lascivious acts involving minors. Bruh! So are there other people out there that are victims to this guy? And this guy just was out on the loose, I guess. In most cases, he was cut a break, sentenced to a couple of months in jail, or adjudication withheld altogether. How crazy is that? Somebody that should have been locked up just keep getting breaks and breaks and breaks and doing all kinds of craziness. Police in Miramar say Pollard was a free man, but on probation on May 22nd, 2002. Wow, that's got to be frustrating, man. Like, that's just got to be, I mean, there's nothing you can do now, but it's just when Farrah's mother and sisters came home and found her in the 3-bedroom house they'd recently rented on Southwest 27th Street. This was a murder that shocked the community, said Tana Ruiz, if I'm saying that right, a spokeswoman for the Miramar Police Department. It was one of those horrific crime scenes our detectives have ever come across, and it is a case they could never forget. The family also cannot shake the images left in their minds all these years later. You wouldn't think that at 8 years old you could remember that much, Farrah's sister Kelly Craig said Tuesday, but I remember that day as if it was yesterday. Pollard is currently serving his life sentence at the Taylor Correctional Institution in Perry. Pollard, who mostly lived in Miami-Dade County, was using a Hollywood address in 2002, will be extradited next week by the Broward Sheriff's Office, officials with Miramar Police said. Farrah Carter's family appreciated the fact that someone had been indicted, but the development didn't ease their decades-old pain. For the detectives to come through with this information, said Kim Battle, Farrah's mother, is very pleasing in a sense, but it's very heartbreaking. Battle and other family members said they'll never recover from Farrah's death. There's still a big hole in my heart that will never be filled, she said. The same is true for Farrah's father, Tony Carter. For 19 years, he said, wiping tears from his eyes, I haven't been able to get my life together. Everything's changed in my life. Right now is like the first day of the rest of my life. I'm hoping to get a new start on it, but I miss my baby so much. Tony Carter said he went to Farrah's grave recently, placed flowers on it, and told her there was an indictment. It's just really, really fuzzy for me, he said. Nothing makes sense. Beto said she's also struggling 19 years later. For many nights after this, I would sit in the living room in a big chair hoping she would come home through that door. The case went cold for years. Miramar detectives would run the blood sample collected at the scene through various databases, but always the same result, nothing. Then in 2019, a DNA evidence breakthrough allowed Miramar Police to get a minor hit on blood evidence collected from a bedroom door. They got a minor match with Pollard. So it I don't know if it was like a small, really small blood sample, and it was maybe a partial match, or I don't know how that stuff works. And I guess the new advancements were able to match it to Pollard. After obtaining a search warrant in 2020, Miramar Police twice questioned Pollard while he was in prison, and he denied involvement in Farrah Carter's death. However, the DNA match of blood from a pair of shoes and the bedroom door gave enough evidence to lead to an indictment. Okay. Today is overwhelming for us, Craig said, but also, like my mom said, there's really no closure. The only closure we would feel would be if my sister were to walk through the door and say, hey, y'all, I'm okay. It was a joke. It was a trick. So that's all I have with this story for now. Just wanted to start off the day and kind of finish off with Farrah Carter. Police said that, I believe I read in one of the articles, that the investigation isn't closed yet. And this guy, Joseph, is denying any involvement. So who knows, the whole legal situation. He's already serving a life sentence, but they say that they're going to still proceed to charge him. So we're going to see how that goes. Condolences to the family. Horrible situation. Weird that they don't know any connection. So was it just random? And has he done this to other women? Has he stalked other people? And if it's possible, I don't know if we'll see if we find anything as far as what happened back then with the minor situation. What did he do with other minors in the past? Because Farrah was considered a minor. Is this something that he did? Did he watch people? And how did he come to find her? And what were they talking about at the door? And what happened that she eventually, it seems like she let him in? And what was up with all the stuff being torn in the house? I guess them fighting back and forth. Like, she really put up a fight. Maybe this is why all this stuff was all over the place. Just weird and strange. So stay tuned. Please hit the like button, the subscribe, turn on the bell notifications. I am coming back with more content, so I'd appreciate the support. I plan to put out some more videos today, later. I've been waiting for some updates. I'm a little disappointed that they didn't release the full press conference. If it does ever eventually come out, we'll see if it's long enough to do a video and we can follow back up on it. But for now, I think this is it. Thank you guys. Take care of yourselves and peace.